What's up, everybody? We'd just like to welcome you to the Elevate podcast with Pastor Kevin and Pastor Joseph.
A Christian podcast where we talk about Christian lifestyle, current events, relationships, and a whole lot of Jesus. What's up, y'all? We want to welcome you back to the Elevate podcast. My name is Kevin. I'm here with my roommate, Joseph Santos.
Oh, thank you, bro. That's better. Much smooth. Thank you for introducing me. I'm just, it's a good day, Kevin. How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's been a crazy week. I know that both of us have been insanely busy.
Yeah.
But, I'm just happy because I finished my test yesterday.
Yep.
And I didn't study for it, but it turned out well. So
you passed.
Yeah, the weight is
That's all
lifted
that
off
matters.
my shoulders. Now I got 1,000,001 other things I got to worry about, but it's all good, man.
That's good, man. Yeah, I know it's been a couple busy weeks, month, and we're barely going to be halfway through March, and it's just been crazy, man. Just everything we've had to do, but it's a blessing. Like, it's that good tired, like you can go home and you can go to bed and you feel accomplished and you feel like you're working, right?
I think it's just that we're so young, and so we can actually handle some of this stuff.
Yeah.
In a sense, because obviously, I feel like sometimes we overwork ourselves.
Yeah.
But then other times I feel like we don't, there's more that we can do.
Yeah.
But I think we're at that point where we're grinding and we're seeing results in the things that we feel passionate about doing right now.
Oh no, definitely. I feel that way as well. And God's been good, man. And it's just amazing to see how he's working and in both of our lives. So it's definitely been a blessing. But today's the day, man.
Today's the day, bro.
Today is the day. I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely nervous, just because you go back and you think about all the memories, and you go back and you're like, "Wow, I can't believe that happened."
Yeah,
all of that. And today, everybody, for those of you who haven't been following the podcast, I guess today's the story that the day that we're gonna talk about our story between Kevin and I, which has been a very long. It's been it's a 7-year story, 6-year story.
Has it been that long already?
Yes,
Dang.
it's a 6-year story.
It's a long story. I think we're gonna try to bring out the good stuff out. But I definitely feel like the big reason more than anything, right? We're not just telling this story for the sake of telling it, right? We're telling this story because I think there are a lot of good life lessons that can be taken from our story, and we hope that it serves as something that can maybe inspire people, make them reflect on what's gone on in their lives, and maybe at the end of the day, they can find something of value from this.
Definitely. I know, looking back at our story personally, I see a lot of life lessons, and I see a lot of growth individually,
and together.
Yeah, and together, definitely. So it's exciting, man. I'm definitely excited to talk about it, and we're gonna go back to the beginning. And here we go. 'Twas was the night of.
It wasn't. I don't know if it was a night.
I don't know, but it was
2015, bro.
I was a freshman at PUC. Kevin was a sophomore, and I think we start off. You were my life group leader, right?
Yeah. So let's actually talk about life groups, right? Because I think it was such an important part of the beginning. So for those who don't know, at PUC, we had these things called life groups. And essentially what it was an opportunity for freshmen to have some sort of mentorship from people who have already been in school.
Mentor.
Hey, man, I think that's what it was. It was mentorship. You just never showed up to my meeting. So that's your fault that you didn't get the full experience. It's not my problem.
Bro, at Fusion, didn't you have nobody?
No, I had a bunch of people.
Really?
I had Kyle. I had Bradley, and I forgot who else I had. Honestly,
Okay.
I don't remember this life group much.
That's how great of a mentor he was to us, that he
he
does not remember everybody.
Man, I tried pouring into these guys. They just didn't want to take the full experience away. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so life groups was just an opportunity for the younger freshmen to basically assimilate themselves to campus life, and the life group leader was there to answer any questions if they were struggling through anything, to basically be there for them and whatever they needed. So again, you didn't take the full experience, so that's not my fault. I tried.
Well, I didn't need you, to be honest.
Yeah, you did. I gave you worship credit.
You're right. And that was actually the one thing you were good for, because, as a freshman, you need 36 worship credit a quarter. And thank goodness Kevin came through. If not, I would not have passed and gotten all my worship credit.
Exactly.
So, no, that was good. And But also Tim Patton was
Yeah.
my RA at that time. I was literally right across his
Mhm.
room, and you were really good friends with
Yeah.
Tim. So we would see each other there, and we were both theology majors.
Yep.
And we had to go to theology
Yeah.
retreat
So
together.
we have to actually talk about this because I think this is probably like the very beginning
Yes,
because you weren't there for fusion
I wasn't there for
because you were on the
fusion.
soccer team.
Yeah,
And so I remember like looking at my list and I'm like, where are these guys? And then I find out that you guys were playing soccer. So I had to find a way to like get to know you or whatever. And so I think theology retreat at Albion was the start of something new, for lack of a
yes.
better word.
There we go. Yeah, all I remember is that you were in my room as well as with Mario
Mm-hmm.
because he was a freshman at
Yep.
that time, and then Robel was there, but he was RVP,
Yep.
so he came late. That
Yeah.
weekend. And I remember that was the first time I really got to talk to Robel as well and Mario,
Yep.
and that was like kind of the start of our relationship and our
Yeah.
friendship. It's Albion. It's like a place up in
Mendocino.
Mendocino. Yes,
Yeah.
beautiful area. If you guys have the chance to visit, I highly recommend it. You can go canoeing, and it's just a very good place to get away. And,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm happy the theology department would do that because
Yeah.
it was such a good experience.
Absolutely. I mean, we went canoeing.
Yes.
I don't know if you were a part of the group. Maybe you were because if I was there and we were all in the same cabin, then we definitely went. But the midnight
Of
canoeing,
course,
oh,
dude. All
dude,
the
that
time.
was the best. It's like if you didn't do that at Albion, like you missed out on the best
Exactly. No,
experience.
midnight canoeing was great, and I actually have a story from RA retreat, but that's for another
Hmm.
time. But yeah, and those are the nights you stay up and you talk, right? Because you
Yeah.
try to figure out everything about the person. Why are they here? Why are they doing ministry? Like the likes, the dislikes. You try to figure things out, and that was the beginning of our friendship per
Yeah.
se.
Yeah. It was. And I think from there on, because we had, similar friend groups, I think at that point we started to hang out more.
Yes.
And I actually have to pull this up, bro. I want to show this to you. If you remember this picture.
Oh yeah, this is for Soul Club,
Yep.
dude. We were so
We're
young.
so young, bro.
Look at our faces. We're babies,
We were
man.
babies. This was before my glow up, dude. So
That I look the same. I'm just more filled out now. But
yeah.
wow.
Dude, it's crazy how much time has passed. This was December 9, 2015. So we're gonna put this up on the screen for you guys to see if you guys haven't already seen it. But dude, that's crazy.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah. And bro, we were sitting together.
I know
like
we're like that. We were at that point,
Yeah.
that we were comfortable with each other. We're both theology majors, and I think we both, we had a passion for God, and
Mhm.
we wanted to start getting people involved, and start working our way up in college.
Yeah. And so I think now it's a good time to talk about the incident
Where it all
I-
went
I-
wrong.
where it all went wrong because obviously we built up like we were good friends, we hang out all the time.
You'd come into my room.
I'd come into your room at
So
random times.
you remember you're trying to teach me how to dance.
Yes. Oh shoot, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, you
actually.
try to teach me for Soul Club banquet.
Yep.
You try to teach
Yep.
me, and to no avail. I'm still a
So you
very.
still can't dance.
I still can't. I try though, at least. I try very hard. I'm just not good.
You're a true Adventist, bro. Adventists can't dance.
You can dance though.
I can dance. I'm
Yeah.
not a true Adventist.
I'm not gonna argue that. Not gonna argue you there.
Oh man, that's a conversation for another day when we start
Yeah.
talking about conservative and progressive
Adventism,
Christianity.
yeah, and Christianity, definitely. But no, dude, yeah, I remember like we were that cool.
Yeah.
That's how our friendship was.
The fact that we actually, or that you felt comfortable, and I think I felt comfortable like just teaching, so I was fine. But the
Yeah.
fact that you felt comfortable enough like around me and like the guys to actually be down, like,
Oh,
hey,
you remember it was in my room. I had a 3-man
Yep.
room, right? And with Gary and Angel, and it was always packed in there. We always had people in there, and yeah, it was just I remember I was wearing a Tim's red blazer.
Yeah,
That's what I was wearing that day. That was wow.
crazy times, man.
Yeah, but the incident,
The
right?
incident.
So actually, that was Soul Club Lincoln's in like April, right?
Yeah,
so now
springtime. Now we're getting towards the
yeah,
very end of
the
spring
school,
quarter.
spring quarter, end of my freshman year. It's exciting. It was a great freshman
Mm-hmm.
year. Had a lot of fun, and we decided to go to Lake Berryessa.
Yep. So
Um,
Lake Berryessa is the lake, a nice lake that's out up in Napa Valley.
Yeah,
And
it was the weekend before finals, I
yes,
think.
yes, I think we just like we all wanted a good getaway to end the year with a bang before everyone went their separate ways.
Yes. And I had a crush on a girl at that time, and man,
Yeah, I'm so excited for this, bro. This is gonna be so good.
no,
So I
dude.
gotta I'm gonna preface this because you're like, wow. No, so I'm man. So I remember this guy was love struck. Like he really liked this girl, and I remember we were driving back up from Napa, and so for those who don't know, from Napa up to PUC, it's about a 40-minute drive, and I can't believe like we used to make this drive like all the time. And it
Dude,
felt like
it
nothing,
felt like nothing.
and
I
now
can't even drive more than 15
yeah,
minutes.
now everything seems so far. But we drove 40 minutes and we were driving back. And I remember, I don't know if you had already told me about the girl.
Yeah.
But I do remember that night, and I remember just like you were in the wrong car.
I was
bro.
in the wrong car.
You
So
were in
here's
the
the thing.
wrong car.
Usually I'm not the type of person who goes out and does like crazy things. I'm very calculated. I try to make the right decisions.
Yep.
But this night I was literally just in a car with a bunch of, what would you call your guys self? A bunch of heart
Oh, dude, it wasn't even them. I'm the hopeless romantic.
Yeah, the
so I feel,
hopeless
I feel like
romantic,
I was
that's
the
what I
one,
was looking
and
for.
then we were blasting like the R&B,
R&B,
and
yeah.
like that's the
Oh.
song, like that's the type of music that just gets you in your feels, and you're just like, oh man,
and
some
I'm
type
in
of
the
way.
car, right? And here's the thing: these are all my new friends, right? I'm not with my best friends, the
Yep.
people who usually ground me when I'm about to make something a very dumb decision. And here I am with these hopeless romantics in car, and somebody, I don't know, I don't remember who, I don't remember what, but somebody was like, Joseph, you have to go tell her.
Probably would have been me, bro. I feel like I would
Yeah,
have been.
I
the
don't
one to
remember,
say
but
something like
you
that.
have to go tell her. And my first thought is no, the school year is ending. They were going to leave, right? They're going somewhere else.
Yep.
So what was the point?
No, so I think the argument was, if you don't do it now, will you ever do it?
And it's okay. To be honest, it's okay if I would have never done it. It would have been totally fine.
Yeah.
Life would have gone on well and things. But yeah, that was the argument. And there I go as a 19-year-old dumb freshman, and I say it, and literally I tell this girl I like her and how I feel.
Hold on, no. You gotta give the juicy details. So all of us were super hyped. We dropped him off at the dorm, and we went because he told us his plan. Like, oh, I'm gonna take her down to the fountain, make it all nice and feelsy. You know?
I forgot about that.
So we go to the fountain, and we're waiting for him, and all the guys are just hiding,
I'm
like
dying,
in the
dude.
behind the bushes.
There's people on top of the church.
on top of the church. Oh,
I can't
man.
do this, bro. I can't do this. Oh my goodness.
And so we're all there, we're waiting, but we waited forever, and this guy never showed up. And so he finally comes down, and we're like, dude, what happened? What happened, bro?
Nothing. We just talked outside the dorm because it was finals weekend,
Yep.
and people actually studied for finals back then.
Yep.
And we did too at times.
At times.
But yeah, and we just had that conversation. It was short. It was sweet. Definitely did not go the way I thought it was gonna go in my head. That's for sure. And I just remember walking down those steps, right? And I just see like heads popping out of the bushes. I see people climbing down walls, and I see like just random places. I'm just like, what's happening? There was at least like 15 to 20 guys there.
Okay, maybe there was like 12, bro.
I don't know.
I think it was like at most 12.
We'd have to think. Yeah, I'm gonna over exaggerate
Yeah.
now at this point, but yeah, and to my avail, and sadly, nothing happened.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think you what was interesting about that night, like it was like, oh man, it's okay, Joseph. You know what? You put yourself out there. We gave you
Yeah.
a pat on the back. You did.
I
you
did
what you
because
needed to
I'm
do.
not like that, right? That's not who I am. So I guess everybody was proud of me, even though inside I'm like, this is the worst idea ever. I'm never doing this again. There's a reason I have the way I do things, because they work for me,
Yeah.
and then I don't feel horrible
Yeah.
after.
Well, I feel like we also called your guys too that night. Like
they were
we
there.
had to have no, but I feel like on the drive, because you probably had to make sense of the situation in some way, and I think we probably called the guys and we're like, yo, this is what we're doing. Like, what do you guys think?
But I think at that point, everybody was just too hyped, bro.
Yeah.
Like we were just finishing. We're about to go into finals week. Everybody's trying to get everything relieved themselves. So I think even at that point, honestly, it's a blur.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Right.
it
If we
was a
called
long
them or
time ago.
not. I don't remember if anybody was the the wise one and be like, Joseph, don't do this.
Yeah.
I wish I would remember. That'd be cool.
I don't think anyone was like, "Don't do this." I think everyone was just
I
like,
don't
"Bro,
know.
you gotta do this. Let's go.
I don't know
Let's
why
go."
though. But yeah, I think, and then that was the end. That's the end of
Yeah.
that story.
So we go our separate ways.
Yes, I stay at
Summer
PUC that
comes
summer. You go work up at
at camp.
PUSR. I was taking physics at the time.
And
And
so this is where it gets interesting.
this is where the miscommunication happens, and this
Yes.
is where everything starts to, I guess, break down.
Yeah. So I think so. I worked with her at camp that summer,
Yeah.
and I think what was probably going through my mind is I had curiosity. I was
Yes.
curious. I wanted it because we all knew what happened on your side.
Yes.
And I wanted to know, like, okay, what was she thinking
Yes.
as this happens?
Yeah.
You know, because you had this plan of like how it was gonna go. And just to remember, like she was gonna go as a missionary
Yeah. Somewhere
that
else.
summer.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole reason why we hyped it up. is because
Exactly.
she was gonna be gone.
Exactly.
And so right before she leaves for the upcoming school year, I worked with her at camp, and I think curiosity got the best of me. So I asked her like, "Hey, what was going through your mind?" And so I, I actually,
I mean, you've told me this.
yeah, yeah, and
I
she was
know.
just like. She was thinking like what you were thinking, like, why would I do this? You know?
Exactly.
So
That's
she was just
my
like,
first thought. Exactly.
she was like, well, that's dumb. You know, like why do guys do this is what she said. And I think you know, as the conversation was going, I don't remember how much further it went. I just remember like, dang, you know what? But I gave you props is what I think I said. I was like, you know what? He at least put himself out there and it
Yeah.
didn't work out, but it's okay. I was like, you're gonna be gone for the year. It's okay. Like
Yeah.
It-
Sophomore
it's
year was
done.
another really good year, every year. But yeah, but that's where it all started. And you had that conversation with her.
Yeah,
But
and so-
but this is what happened on my
But
end.
before you say this, I was like, all right, cool. Like things are good. Like I'm coming back into the next school year. Like,
Yes.
all right, sweet. But I got a text message from you.
You got a text message, and this is where it all started. So I'm up at PUC, right? I'm there. I'm taking physics. I'm working all the time, and I get this text message. I forget from who, but we after the event, right? I went up on vacation with my family up to Oregon. Just before I started summer school, spent some time with my parents and my brother because I wasn't gonna see them that
Yeah.
summer. And during the car ride up, everybody was joking, right? We're there and we're texting. And I remember somebody out of the group was like, "Oh, Joseph, you should go to Haiti with her." Or and I was like, "What?" Like, and of course I was like, "Dude, you guys are crazy. Like, no. Like that would never happen."
Yeah.
And you were part of that group chat, that
Yeah.
group chain. So that happened. That goes by. Everything is cool. But then during the summer, somebody who was working with you at camp texted me like, "Hey, Joseph, did you really say you were gonna go with her on her missionary trip?" Right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "No, what are you talking about? Like, that was never part of my
Mhm.
plan." And then like she's just telling me, I don't know if it was he or she, right? But they're just telling me that, oh, like, she thinks that you're gonna go, and all of these things, right? And it's culminating, it's
Yeah.
building up. And I'm like, what? Why would she think that? I'm not that desperate. I'm not that
Yeah.
crazy. Like it happened, it was over, game over, right? And I never even said it. Somebody else
Mhm.
said it in the group chat. And so then my mind starts to race, right? And I'm like, what? Why would she think that about me? Like, why? Because then the rumors started spreading,
Yeah.
like, oh, Joseph this, like,
Mhm.
look at her, like, look how far he's willing to go.
Yeah.
Is it too much? And
Yep.
I'm not like that, number one, and I hate when rumors spread about
Mhm.
me, especially if they have no merit,
Yeah.
right? So then I started getting angry. I'm like, no, this is bad for me. It's bad for my reputation,
Yeah.
number one.
And you're so big on your reputation too.
Yeah, I think it's important. You don't want to have a bad one either, right? Especially when some people are talking bad about
Mhm.
you. So then I go in my mind, I'm like, okay, who are the people who could tell her this?
Yeah.
And the thing is,
You could only trace it back to
there
Walford.
was only one name who was there, who I had this conversation with.
Mhm.
There is nobody else on that group chain,
Yeah.
and that name was Kevin Galliano. And that summer, right, I texted you,
Yeah.
and I'm like, Kevin, how could you do this?
Yeah.
How could you do this to me? Like, we're close friends. Like, people are thinking I'm crazy now.
Yeah.
Because people up at PUC were even asking me, hey, Joseph, is this true? Like, I don't know how it got there, but I was livid, bro.
Yeah.
Like, this is number one, I did something I was super uncomfortable
Yeah.
with, right? Which, at that point I was coerced and I was manipulated
Yeah.
into doing, right? And now there's this rumor going on about me that I'm gonna go to another
Yeah.
country just to be with this person. How do you think I felt? Especially I'm at the summer, I don't have my friends with me, my close friends per se.
Yeah.
So I have nobody to like really bounce off or like be like say anything or come to I can't even defend myself.
Yeah.
It's just more of like, oh crap, this is what people are talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, and but I think what it culminated into, I feel like like the anger and the resentment was just like building up so
Oh, dude,
much,
so much.
and so what ends up happening, school starts.
No, so we were both working, right? Because you were a desk worker
Well,
that
yeah,
year.
I wasn't a desk worker, but I was coming back because I was an essay that
You
year.
were an essay
That was
that
my
year.
junior
Yeah.
year. And so I come back. I'm the religious vice president that year, but I had to get there early, so I'm in the dorms early. And I think you were a desk worker that year.
Yeah.
And so I think you were working desk too. You
No,
were
no, no.
working
I
desk.
wasn't. I was cleaning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember now. So there we are, and I see Kevin run down the. And at that point, I had told everybody, I'm gonna beat up Kevin when I see him. Because I can't believe he would do this to me. Like, because I did at that point, and here's the thing that I want everybody to know. I did consider Kevin one of my closer friends at that point in college. We had so many good
Yeah, we had established a really good friendship.
like we were talking about in the last podcast. We had gotten to that point where we were super comfortable. And the fact that you betrayed me in that way, I couldn't take it. I'm
Yeah.
like, how could you do that to me
Yeah.
after everything? Right? Because I was vulnerable to you.
Yeah.
I was vulnerable with you and
Yeah.
everything. And I was like, how could you do that to me? So I remember the first thing, I had so much anger. I'm like, when I see Kevin, I'm gonna beat him up.
Yeah.
And there it is. I remember South Side, third floor. You're walking up the stairs behind where the chapel is. And I'm pushing a desk to another room. And I'm with Tim and I think I'm with Akil.
Yeah.
And then I see you and I want to charge you. Right? But the thing is, Akil and Tim saw you first.
Yeah.
So then they grabbed me and then they made sure that I
Because
could.
they knew that you were.
They
you
knew
were
I was
angry.
I was angry.
Yeah.
And they grabbed me and they made sure I couldn't go.
Yeah.
That would have been a good fight though.
Nah, I would have gotten beat up bad. I was
Yeah,
a skinny
that's
little
true.
kid back then. I was really skinny.
I
And you were
would've-
in shape because you were in soccer. And
I
all
know,
that.
I
So
would've- I would've-
No, man, I was really weak back then. But I think for me, I was oblivious though. I didn't realize this until I think it might have been Jose that told me, or one of my best friends is the one that told me that, like, yo, dude, what did you do to Joseph? And I was like, what do you mean? And I think what it was also, remember, I did say this a little earlier, but I think you sent me a text
Mm-hmm.
and you were mad. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I just talked to her.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was
That's the only conversation you had.
yeah,
Yeah.
in my head, all I was thinking was like, all I did was ask, like, I wanted to see her side of the story. And I told you that too. I was like, I was curious to hear her side of the story. And that was it. The rumors that started, I personally don't remember if I did tell her that or not.
Yeah.
But all I remember for a fact is that I asked her side because I was curious to find out what actually happened.
And yeah, I would have been curious too.
Yeah.
But that's what started it. That
Yep.
started my hatred towards you.
Yep.
Because you had betrayed me, bro. Like I literally felt, I'm like, wow, like this person after everything just goes and talks. And here's the thing, you already had a reputation that you talk too much. You say things that
Yeah, absolutely.
you say things you're not supposed to say.
Mhm.
And I think
I was really bad at keeping
in
secrets back then.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were. So like it's just like, oh, Kevin does it again.
Yeah.
He opens his big mouth.
I love the Cheeseman back then, bro.
Yeah,
I still
dude.
love it too, but I'm so good at keeping secrets now.
Yeah, so like that was the thing, and I'm just like, why do you have to go open your mouth?
Yep.
Like literally, Kevin, we had this, we talked about it, it was done.
But let's be honest, everybody has that one friend that cannot keep a secret.
Yeah, but the thing is, you got to, bro. Like,
no,
come
I
on, bro.
agree with you. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but everybody, like, you know who those people are, and if you know who those people are, you also got to be very careful. Because in my head, like now more than anything, I can think of that person in my life who I'm like, I can't tell this person a whole lot because I know if I tell this person, they're gonna tell everybody.
Yeah,
And so I think you also gotta like be rational and thinking like, you know what? There's nothing against this person. They are great people, I am sure, but I just know that they got a big mouth. And so because of that, like I feel like there's some reasoning, some logic that you gotta use in that.
but that's why it was my reasoning and
Yeah.
logic in the sense I'm like, okay, one person And the thing is, if you're a person who I know could keep his, mouth shut, then
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I know who you were,
Yeah.
so I know I'm like, oh, it has to
It
be
has
Kev.
to be him. And
There's no other. There's no other logical choice,
Exactly.
and I needed to let out my anger some way,
Yeah, and eventually what it ended up being was that year to me was crazy.
Yeah, it was-
My junior year, your sophomore year, I think it was an entire year. I would say it was like an entire year of hell. For like the way that we would view each other, the way we would look at each other, or
Tension,
not
yeah.
want to look at each other, right? Because I remember like you just being angry with me, and for me, I was like, why is this guy tripping so much?
Yeah.
I legit was like, okay, and so I milked it, and so I knew you did not like for me to be around, and I think,
But I insulted you at every moment possible.
But I
and
could
try,
take it, that's
but
the
I,
thing.
I try to make you so uncomfortable
Yeah.
all the time though,
Yeah.
as well. Like
Yeah, yeah.
if you were in a group setting, I was gonna roast you.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
roasted you multiple times,
But here's
so
the
many
thing.
times.
Okay, so two things I would say. First of all, I'm terrible at comebacks.
Yes,
So
you're horrible.
So I feel like no matter what setting I'm in, like people know how to roast me because it's very easy.
Yeah.
Hence why, like in this podcast, you roast me like all the time.
Because it's funny, it's so easy.
And for me, like I think, and maybe it wasn't so much then, but I think I was coming into my own where I was slowly beginning to not care what other people thought of me.
but I was your friend.
But again, I was like, I don't know why this guy's tripping. I've tried talking to him, but you would like the thing is you wouldn't even want to talk to me at that point.
Oh, I didn't, dude. Because
You
the thing
know?
is, I was gonna punch you in the face
Yeah,
if I spent
exactly.
time with you alone.
Exactly. And so for me, I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm gonna milk this. So I remember just going up to you, like, and I always have a smile on my face too. And I knew that like bothered you and irked you. So I would go and be like, "What's up, Joey? How's it going, man? It's good to see you." And I remembered you just being like, "What's up, bro?" And I remember like just the tension and the anger and the disgust every single time I would walk into the room, and I just loved seeing that. It was, I look back and I'm now I'm thinking like, man, you know what? It shouldn't have been that way. I shouldn't have, because honestly, I feel like this is something we could have solved earlier.
Oh, definitely.
But
But we're young, bro.
we were young, bro.
We were young, number one, and then number two, like I'm a proud person, right?
Yeah.
You are as well.
I'm stubborn.
We're
I'm
yeah, we're
stubborn.
both
We're both
extremely
very stubborn.
and we don't want to give them inch.
Yeah.
It's all about who has the leverage,
Exactly.
especially within guys.
Yeah.
Like who has the leverage, who's gonna give up the ground first.
Yeah.
And it wasn't gonna be me.
Yep. And it wasn't gonna be me.
Exactly.
So
So time goes by, right? This is a whole year worth of
whole year. of
and
just-
and like literally if you would come and try to hang out with my friends, we would literally sit with each other, but it just you can feel
Yeah, because we still had mutual friends.
Yes.
A lot of mutual friends. So it's not like we were we couldn't ignore each other because we were always
yes.
around each
and
other.
then you were RVP, I was doing worship
doing
as well.
music, yep.
So we had to coexist with each other
Mhm.
as much as I did not. But the thing is, I would bag on every single idea you had.
Yep. And they were good ideas.
No,
though, I
they
will
weren't,
say.
bro. They were still so bad.
All I will say about that year, I had one bad idea.
No, but that's the thing. That bad idea is
That
the
was
one that
one
it
bad
sticks with
idea.
you the whole year, bro.
Yeah, literally, like everyone looks back at my RVP and they're like, "Dude, why the Rock won't move?" Man?
Yeah.
That's all I ever hear. I wanted the Rock won't move because it was my jam at that point. And instead of like trusting in like the band and thinking, but like I was so fixated.
And that's
on
the only
that
thing
song.
everybody remembers.
And now
about
they just remembered the Rock won't move for a week of prayer, and it just wasn't good. I think we
not good.
stopped after like the third day, and we're like, "Yeah, we're not doing this song anymore."
bro. But yeah, and then so that was our sophomore year, right? Time goes on.
My junior year, yeah.
Your junior year, and we come. It's my junior year now. Your senior year. And we at this point, things change, right?
Yeah.
You're a little older. A whole year has gone by.
Mhm.
I mean, sophomore year was rough for me, bro. Like just class schedule wise, and it was just a very tense
Yeah.
year.
I had just gotten out of a relationship, and I was like, just
yeah.
coming back into my own again.
And then we're there, and we have a class. We have to do our externship
Yeah.
or an internship. We'll just call it
Let's
an
just call it an
let's call it an
internship. I don't know what
internship. So
externship even
yeah,
means.
so we're doing an internship at a church, right? Because that's the curriculum for our theology degree in order to graduate. And I remember I was gonna go do mine at Napa Community STA
Yep.
Church. That was my plan. I had already talked with the pastor, and you were supposed to go to
The Haven.
the Haven. And
I was sold on the Haven because our friend Tim had already been there, and
Yeah.
he said he had a good experience, and I really wanted to go, but then the senior pastor was gone.
Yes. So, and this is where everything starts to change, right?
Yeah.
So Kevin comes, and I think Wilberding had been there now at
Yeah,
that point,
our professor had just gotten there.
and he's like, I don't know how you ended up at Napa.
No, so what I asked someone in the theology department, and I asked like, hey, is it okay if I ask to go to the same church that Joseph's at? Because Randy had also told me, like, because he had done his internship there before, and he told me he had a good experience. And so for my head, I was like, okay, I can switch to there. And I didn't realize that you were there. And I was like, oh shoot. But I was like, you know what? I don't care. Like, I need an intern somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I remember, I think I was talking to the associate pastor at the time, Glenn, and I asked him like, hey, would you mind having a second intern? And they're like, oh no, like we're all for it. And so this is where things start to develop again.
So I just want you to. So we still hate each other at this point.
Yep.
And here we are, and
We had to go to every single weekend together.
every single Sabbath, we have to go drive 40 minutes, right? And Sabbath's supposed to be your day of rest.
Yep.
It's supposed to be your day of peace, and you're
Yeah.
trying to be with
Good
one with
thoughts,
God,
happy
good thoughts.
with Jesus.
But here you have two people who definitely do not like each other, and they're in the car together listening to Christian
Yep.
music on
And
their way
no,
down.
not just that, but it's tense. I remember the first time.
Oh,
we
dude,
drove,
it was so
It
tense.
was so tense, and we're just going. We don't care, like, or at least I was like, oh shoot, like, whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah,
But
me too. I was just like, I gotta work.
Yeah.
But I was mad that he chose my church. Like,
Yep.
I'm like, Kevin, why can't you go find your own church? Like,
Yep.
get out of my way.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else.
Yep, this is my church.
This is my church. That's exactly what I said. I'm like, this is my church. Go somewhere else, because I didn't want to work with him.
Yeah.
But here we are, and we split it up, right? You did youth Sabbath school one week. I did junior high, and
then
we
we
would
would go back and
we'd
forth.
constantly rotate, and then that's when we started getting more involved with the church. But for the first at least 2 months, bro, those car rides
We're long.
were long
Because
and
it
they were
wasn't just 40
intense.
minutes in one direction. It was 40
40
minutes
minutes
in one
back.
direction, 40 minutes back.
Yes. So you're just like,
And we also had to sit next to each other during church too.
yes, we did. We had to sit next to each other.
And then like being invited to Glenn's house from
Yeah,
time to time. Because we
yeah.
went there a lot too.
Yeah. And then we had the transition of Nate, because Nate
Yep,
came in
the
through
new senior
the
pastor
new
had
senior
come.
pastor there. Yeah. But it's crazy how God works.
Yeah.
And I think this is that moment where he starts to soften your heart,
Mm-hmm.
right? I definitely wasn't praying for you at that time. I
Neither was I.
wasn't praying for our relationship to
Nope.
get better, but as we started working together, and we tried to improve the church's youth and junior high, and we started, I started bringing people down from
Yeah.
PUC to do worship at that church, and try to create that community, and then the car rides started getting less
Little better.
tense.
Yeah, we started talking a little
We
more.
started talking about our weeks. Definitely, I still felt mad at him. Don't
Oh,
wrong,
yeah.
but you eventually keep on talking. But I think one of those car rides, I think we had the
We
conversation.
had to have it. Yeah.
Yeah,
We had to address the elephant in the room.
we did, and I think after like 3 or 4 months, we finally sat. We're in the car ride, and I think we both at that point were just like, "What happened?"
Yeah. Yeah. And I honestly don't remember how that
I
conversation
don't remember how it went either.
I don't remember how that conversation went, but I do just remember, just talking about it. And I think at that point we were like, you know what? We focused so much time on hating each other and making each other's
other
lives
miserable.
like miserable. And I think at that point we were just both like done with it. We're like, you know
Yeah.
what, bro? Like let's let bygones be bygones. What happened in the past is in the past.
Yeah.
But what I think was so interesting though, and I think because so here's what's interesting, because we talked about this a little earlier, not in the podcast, but just like as we were talking and just thinking about how we should go about it. But neither one of us wanted to admit that we were in the wrong,
No.
and I think that's why the tension existed for so long. And I think people can resonate with that, right? People can resonate with the fact, like, I don't want to be the first person to apologize.
Yeah.
And I think on my end, I was like, I have no reason to apologize. In my head, I was thinking, I didn't do anything wrong.
I expected an apology from you though.
Yeah,
That's all I wanted. I
yeah,
just wanted you to be like, "Yeah, Joseph, I opened my mouth again. I'm sorry."
yeah.
That's literally all I wanted from
Mhm.
you. But you didn't even want to give me that.
Well, because I again, and you know what's so interesting? I usually have no problem
Me
apologizing.
neither. I have no problem letting things go
Yeah,
sometimes. It depends on the
yeah,
situation.
it depends
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the
It depends on the situation. But if it's small enough, like I have no problem being the one who's
yeah.
like, all right, like we can get through it.
Yeah. No, but it's so funny, and I don't understand what it was, but I think just I was stubborn and I was letting my pride get in the way because I was like, you know what, Joseph isn't even bothering to treat me nicely, and so in my
Mm.
head I was like, you know what,
Yeah, that's true.
I was
I'll give
like,
you that one.
you know, it was more like if you're gonna clap at me, I'm gonna clap back, and
Yeah.
so I think I also just enjoyed like, you know what, if you're gonna act this way to me, I'm gonna act this way to you, and I think that just made things so much worse, you know, and and I think what we should have done and what we could have done was one of us and you know I could have done this definitely. I definitely think that I could have done this. Is just sincerely like looking back because I think you know that conversation of like what happened could have happened a lot sooner.
Yeah.
And if we had just sat down and been like, "Hey, bro, like let's talk and let's actually hash this thing out," and actually had that conversation sooner, it would have saved us a lot of time in our friendship. You know, because I think what we started to realize at Napa is like we work well together.
Yeah.
You know, we
And
both
I think it bothered me.
like we were actually doing well.
Yes, I think it bothered me that we both were doing well and we were both like doing good work, right? Because
Yeah,
I think the conversation started shifting like in the car, right? Oh, how can we do Napa better, right? And
because I think we started setting our differences aside and we're like,
yeah,
let's focus on our goal.
yeah, on our church, yeah, at that time, and I won't lie, yeah, I think I was like, what? Am I actually working well with Kevin?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm like, am I? It was just that experience, right?
Mhm.
Your cycle, and I'm just like, wow, this is unbelievable. And I think that's why I think at that point I was ready to hash it out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we do have to realize that we were young, man, and to be honest, sometimes when you're younger and you're in college and you don't always make the right
No,
decisions.
you don't. There's
It's part of life. It's how you grow up.
there's a lack of maturity there.
Yes,
You know, there's a lack of
definitely.
growth and I think and I honestly looking back as much as we may have lost that time, I definitely feel like it helped our friendship, it helped it grow and mature. But I also think it helped develop the way we do ministry.
Yeah.
And I think this is why, you know, now in a different context here in San Diego, things have been very different and you know, I would love to say, you know what, us being able to work together, I hope, you know, and I hope the audience, like our listeners here in San Diego feel the same way, but you know, us being able to work together has definitely been I think for me a great blessing,
Mm-hmm.
but I hope it's also been a blessing to our youth and the young people here in San Diego.
No, definitely. I think so as well. And yeah, man, I just think back and I remember you had graduated,
Hmm.
right? And by the
I
end,
actually we actually took a picture together too
yeah,
during
yeah,
my graduation.
we
I have it
did.
here.
And I remember like by the end of our time at Napa, we were both really happy with what we did, and God had blessed us there.
Hmm.
We had some great pastors there
Yeah.
as well who helped us grow. Um, and we moved forward, and from that you were graduating,
Hmm.
right? And I think we were good. We were
Yeah.
on really good terms,
Yep.
and it's just an amazing shift, right? Because I remember you asked me this. You're like, because for our externship we had a sheet to fill out with
Hmm.
a bunch of things, and he's like, "Hey Joey, I remember you came into my room." He's like, "I know you do all the music stuff, but is it okay if I take credit for one of the times?"
Uh,
I don't know if you remember that.
no, I don't
Oh
remember.
yeah, you came in. You're like, "Hey, is it okay if I take credit for one of the times you brought down the band and stuff?" And I'm like,
Uh,
"Yeah, of course, dude. Like, no problem."
hmm.
You know. And I was like, "Okay, cool." Like we're there. And then my senior, and then after my senior year, you had left. You came up to speak at PUC. Um, and I remember you when we were in the dorm. I don't know if you remember this,
No, I don't.
but we're in the front desk area of Newton, and I see you, right, and then we hang and we hug, like, bro, it's good to see you. Then we started talking about your time there, And then I remember I made this remark. I'm like, hey, bro, how about if I come hang out with you in a year and we do ministry together?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And I don't know. I'm pretty. You don't remember
No,
this,
I
but
don't
I
remember
do.
this.
I do remember this. We were just there. We were talking. We were joking because everybody was talking about how big you've gotten
Oh,
since
yeah.
since you had working out. Since you
Yeah.
had just come back to PUC, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, Kevin is big." You know,
Dude, and
he's
I was still really small then,
yeah,
though.
I know, but it was a difference from what you were before,
Yeah.
right? And I remember I was like, hey, bro, how about if I get hired and I come down to San Diego and we become roommates and let's do ministry together? And you said, yeah, let's do it. If it happens, I'm
Yeah.
down. I got you. And little did I know, bro, March and I mean, by April, I got hired
Yeah.
and then I moved down here. And like they say, the rest is history,
Yeah.
right? And it's funny because every time this conversation comes up, I go back to that moment
Mm.
where we had that conversation that you don't remember. But I'm like, wow. And for my personal life, I'm like, I can't believe God full circle.
Yeah.
God did that. And we had come through like a point where we're really good friends. We hated each other. You know, we were working our way back, trying to mend our
Mhm.
relationship. Right. And how did God mend our relationship? He mended it through ministry.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's such an amazing like for me like experience to go through that where I'm like, okay, Kevin and I can work together
Mhm.
and we can not only just work together well, but we can do
We can do something good.
we can do something good
You know, God can do something good
through
through us.
yes, because you know just the way we are, how
Mhm.
we our differences and stuff.
But
Um,
I think what the beauty of it is that we're able to challenge each other,
yeah.
right? I think, and it's not to say that we, you know, we haven't hit a bunch of bumps in the road,
Oh
but
yeah.
being roommates with each other is like it's a lot of work, you
Yes.
know, because sometimes I don't put up with things that you do, and sometimes you don't put up with things that I do,
Yeah.
and we go at it, you know. But I think even in the midst of all that, there's even been even more growth. I feel like, you know, living together and you know, doing ministry and whatnot, because our views are so different,
But we have
but
a
but
passion.
we be and I think that's at the end of the day, right? And I think this is why I'm a firm believer, and I don't know if we talked about this in the last podcast, but I'm a firm believer, like, in your friendship, there has to be some sort of goal.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like that's the thing that really sustained us, was like our goal was what we want. If we're gonna be working together, we gotta do our best and put it in all of our heart to make something good, to honor God, and to actually be able to make an impact. And I
Yeah.
think that's what became the goal in our friendship. And I think that's what has pushed us so much,
Yeah.
is you have to have a goal. There needs to be that little driving force that you are working towards. It may not be like, oh, the goal may not be like, oh, the goal is to be best friends, but
I like that.
but the goal is ultimately like, hey, how can I best bring the best out of this person?
Mhm.
And how can they bring the best out of me? And
Yeah.
how can we continue to grow and challenge each other?
No, definitely, bro. I agree with you, and it's just it's just amazing to see that. And now that you say it, that's so true. How that underlying goal for our passion for ministry is what drives us.
Yeah.
It's what sustains us.
Yeah.
Um, and I love how you put that. And for everybody out there, like it's a process. Like
Yeah.
it's not easy, right?
Friendships are hard.
They're hard, and especially once we'll have a roommate podcast as well once we
Mhm.
talk about how we live with each other
Mhm.
and how that works as well. But just going through life and figuring out and finding out your friends and having that person, like if there's somebody in your life right now that perhaps you think that the door has been closed
Mhm.
and you're saying to yourself, oh, like there's no way.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this, God might have other plans for
Yeah.
you.
I think the best way to put it is, a door that you think has closed is a door that God is still keeping open. You
Mm,
just haven't realized it yet.
I'm telling you, bro, we need a bell for your one liners. But no, dude,
Yeah, no,
it's so
honestly
true.
though.
Cause Kevin, I had closed the door on you, bro.
Yeah, same here.
And,
All right,
and-
but you know, maybe what it was is we tried slamming the door closed, but God like sticks his foot in. He's like, I'm not done here yet.
oh, that's good. I like
Right?
that. That's so
It's like
good.
it,
Yes.
you know, and I feel like that's what it was, where God was just like, wait, just wait. You know, and I think that's what I want to really challenge our listeners with, is just this idea, like, yo, I don't know what your friendships look like. I don't know who you're currently struggling with, or who you're currently going at,
Clashing
you
with,
know,
yeah.
clashing with. And regardless if you had already been friends or hadn't been friends, I think the thing that you got to understand is, you know what, if it's really worth it, and at the end of the day, I can't say if it is or not. Like, obviously I think this was worth it, right? But like in the case of of like our listeners,
Yeah.
I think ultimately God will reveal to you in some way,
Yeah.
how to reconcile.
Yes.
And I think that's the path to reconciliation is a difficult one, but it's a very
Extremely.
rewarding one.
I mean, dude, it literally took how many weeks is there in a school year? I think
It's me, dude.
I mean, I don't know, but let's say there's like 36 Sabbaths, right? There's 52 weeks in a year. So let's just say like 36 Sabbaths, 40 minutes one way, 40 minutes another way. You're talking what, 120 minutes, an hour and 20 every Sabbath in a car with another individual, for 36 weeks, you know, for 36 weeks,
Yeah.
right? On Sabbath. You're gonna, it takes time, and you're gonna have to reconcile at some point. And it's hard, man, but if God wants it and you have a desire in your heart, because here's the thing, Kev, even as much as we argued and we fought, like, bro, you were still my friend.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it hurts so
Yeah.
much.
Absolutely.
You were still my friend. Somebody who I trusted. I'm like, dang. And even when we were like fighting, like, I'm just like, this guy. I always did know this though. Even though we were arguing, I'm like, if I ever did really need something, I know Kevin would come through for me. I can say that. Like, even though we were arguing, I could say that with confidence. I was like, I didn't know what was gonna happen, but man, God works His ways, man. He works wonders,
Yeah,
and
bro.
even in two extremely stubborn young men,
Yeah.
right?
That had a lot of growing up to do.
A lot of
think
growing
that's
up,
what it
and we're
was.
still growing, dude.
Still growing,
We're
bro.
still growing, and we're still trying to figure stuff out. And but for everybody out there, just trust in God, and and pray, and think and look at your situation, right? And try to think about your attitude,
Mhm.
and think about,
Check your heart. I
check
think
your
that's
heart.
the big one, is checking your heart.
Yeah. Check your attitude, check your heart. What's your mindset? Like, why? Right?
Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of the times what ends up happening is when you hold a grudge, the other person has the power.
Mm,
Because because for them, they don't have a care in the world. They're fine.
yeah.
But if you're the one with a grudge, you're the one that every single time you see that person, that thing stirs up in you. That
Yeah.
thing is like, oh, I can't stand this person, right? And why would you want to do that to yourself? Why would you want to hold a grudge that is ultimately hurting you in the process?
Oh, definitely. It's
'Cause
not
it's not
worth it.
it's
It's heavy, dude. I
yeah.
can tell you, because that's how I felt. It's
Yeah.
heavy, but the only way to get through that is literally through God.
Yeah,
Like, He's the
absolutely.
only one who can soften your heart. He's the only one who can bring you down. Like, cause Pharaoh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Pharaoh's heart was hard, man. Like, Bible says it.
Yeah.
He-
He didn't want to admit that he was wrong. He didn't want to. He didn't want
Mm.
to. He was trying to save face the entire time.
Exactly. But you know what, Kev? Like, we're here now. We live together. We're doing ministry together, and God, through it all, through everything, I have seen God in so many
Yeah,
ways,
absolutely, bro.
and I have taken so many lessons from our relationship and our friendship
And our conversation.
and our
too.
conversations, right? Where we just stay up and we talk, and I'm thankful.
Yeah.
I can say that I'm thankful to God that He's the one who controls my life,
Mhm.
and I don't have a say.
Yeah. Yeah. And man, bro, honestly, it's been a heck of a ride so far, and I'm excited to see like what's gonna happen in the future. And I wasn't gonna tell you this, man, but you are one of my best friends.
Oh,
man.
yes, let's go.
I-
I did it, everybody. Let's go.
I gotta
did
be
it.
honest, bro.
I
Like,
did
you are
it.
one of my best friends, man. And
I did it. I'm so happy right now. I did it.
no, now that this has been brought up, I'm safe. The question is, am I one of your best friends?
Of course you are, Kev. I think with the amount of time we spend with each other and everything, you're definitely, one of my best friends. And um, yeah, man, it's just it's a wild ride.
Yeah, bro.
Of this life that we live, But even though it's crazy and it's wild and it's unbelievable, and sometimes we cannot believe the decisions that you make because of other people, and you feel like there's no getting out, and you get mad. But guess what, bro? We're not at the steering wheel.
No, we're not. You got. It sounds so cliche, but you gotta literally let Jesus take the wheel. Like you
Exactly.
literally, like, man, I think I cannot stress this enough because I'm seeing it in my own life.
Hmm.
I'm like, yo, you may think that you have your life figured out. You may think you know the direction that you are taking your life, but God may have something completely different.
Yeah.
And as hard as it is to wrestle with it, wrestle with it. And eventually you got to get to that place where it's like, you know what? I'm done trying to make sense of this on my own. I got to give this to God and let him figure it out for me, you know?
Definitely.
And I think once we were able to do that, that set things in motion for God to actually be able to work in us.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like if we hadn't made, I think what's so interesting is God can definitely work in people regardless if they're stubborn or not. Like look at Jonah, right?
Yeah.
God was still working in Jonah when he didn't want God to work through him,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, but what I will say is when you get out of the way, like literally, I feel like sometimes God's just like, get out of the way, dude. Get moved. Like you're
Mhm.
blocking my way from when I'm trying to do something good in your life. And I think once we set aside our differences and once we set aside our pride and our ego, God was like, all right, now I can work. And what I'm about to do with you guys, like, it's gonna be good.
Amen, man. Amen.
So I think that's the challenge, right?
That's the challenge.
Get out of the way, man.
Get out of the way and let God take the wheel and let him, and he's gonna surprise you.
Yep.
He's gonna surprise you. And Kev, this has been crazy podcast.
Yeah, bro.
It's been fun, man. Oh man, I've gone all the emotions.
Yeah, bro. It was like a roller coaster ride.
Roller
But it was a
coaster of
good one,
emotion.
dude. It was a good one.
And we just hope that this story of Kevin and I can be something you guys can look at and be like, wow,
Yeah.
God works, and he can do this in your life.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
in your friendships too.
And in your friendship, definitely.
So again, we want to thank everybody so much for joining Joseph and I in telling the story,
This story.
our story, and the craziness that it is. But you know what? We hope it was a blessing. We hope it encourages you in your friendships. And again, we thank you so much for listening to this podcast and being a part of the Elevate Nation. You know,
Yes, Elevate Nation now.
Elevate
Or is that
Nation.
where we're going?
yeah, it's Elevate Nation. Like people out there, they are part of Elevate Nation. If they're listening to this podcast, the Elevate podcast, they are a part of Elevate Nation. So
I love it, bro.
again, don't forget we do have a giveaway, and we're still trying to figure out the name of this podcast. So
Yeah.
what we're gonna ask
Hey,
you
maybe
guys,
Elevate Nation. Huh? That's not bad
Elevate
either.
Nation, huh? Interesting.
You get to save $25.
I
And
get
that's
to
it.
save $25.
But yeah, we have the giveaway. So if you guys send us your suggestion, text
DM
Kevin.
us, DM us at Elevate the Name. Let us know. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, either on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, if you watch us on YouTube. And what I'll also say is make sure to leave a review because we want to.
Oh no, like.
Yeah, well, like it too, but also leave a review and let us know, like, hey, what can we do better? Because I think that's at the end of the day, we're always asking people, like, hey, how can we make this podcast better? Because
Yeah.
this is what our 4th episode,
Yes.
something like that, and we're still trying to get a feel for it. We're still trying to figure out like what's the best way to go about this podcast. But again, we thank you guys for being a part of this. Next week, I think we're gonna continue this trend, right? We talked about community. We went on 2 episodes for friendships. I think the next step, bro, is
Yes.
relationships.
It's relationships. It looks like it. And that's gonna be a lot of fun
It's
as
gonna
well.
be a lot of fun. So we'll see. We'll stay tuned. We'll see who we get on this thing, or if we end up just rolling with it, and it's gonna be good. So what I'm gonna ask us to do right now to all of our listeners, make sure that you hit us up on Instagram, DM us at Elevate the Name, and
Can I
let
give
us
your
know.
phone number?
No, I don't want my phone number, dude.
Okay.
But
I'll put it in the comments
Oh,
below.
Okay, whatever. And I'll just block all the numbers. I'm just kidding. I don't do that. But I will say, just make sure you DM us on Instagram or email us at elevatesdministry@gmail.com
And ask questions.
and ask questions. Like we want to know. Like feel free to text or email us, DM us, and let us know. Like what do you want us to talk about in this upcoming podcast? Again, we're gonna be talking about relationships. So if you guys have any relationship questions, if you want to hear from our perspective And whoever we decide to get on the podcast to join us, we would love to be able to tackle some of those questions and see how we can best help you. Because at the end of the day, like, we're not just doing this for ourselves.
Nope.
We're doing this because we want to help everyone here in Elevate Nation, whether you're here in San Diego or if you're listening from anywhere else. Like, you guys are our priority.
Definitely. And, we're open, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I did not want to say this story today, but we did it.
We did it.
And, we definitely want to talk about the topics you guys want to. And we're just so grateful you guys spent part of your day listening to us. And we just thank you guys for listening to the Elevate podcast with Kevin and Joseph.
Yep. We'll see you next time, everybody.
See you guys. What's up, everybody? We'd just like to welcome you to the Elevate podcast with Pastor Kevin and Pastor Joseph.
A Christian podcast where we talk about Christian lifestyle, current events, relationships, and a whole lot of Jesus.